Only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.
There we go. Sorry about that. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the VG8 powered by VIS. I'm your host, Dragonborn, and we'll be providing you guys the off-stream match here in the European region. I want to apologize up front. I am a little bit under the weather, but of course, you know, the show must go on, and I'm excited to be here. We've got an exciting game, actually, in Europe, one that has a lot of implications. So we do want to get into it in just a few seconds, as all the players are ready to go in queue to get started here. You know, looking at it, you know, we've got two teams that have very few points. Salty Potatoes only has one, and QLASH, they only have, well, they have zero, they have none. And so today's game, one of these two teams is going to be able to get a few points here and move on to the next round. So this is definitely, you know, really important matchup for them. And, you know, glad we're going to be able to bring it to you guys. So for everyone in the chat, thanks for coming by. Thanks for giving us the support here on the VIS channel as we do bring you guys the off-stream match. So looks like we're just about ready to start. And give the OQ, make sure we're ready to go. And
the draft begins.
Here we go, getting into it. I am the only caster today, so it's just going to be me. I apologize in advance for that, but Salty Potatoes, QLASH. Now, you know, this is on the tournament server in Europe, and we've got, you know, the meta's been changing on 2.8 quite a bit. It's been really exciting, actually, to see it evolve. We've seen a lot of prioritization on support. So Grace, Catherine, they still have some prioritization on picks, but CP Idris is going to be the ban. And this probably because this has really become the most powerful CP laner. Catherine going to be the ban after that. So this does open up some Kestrel picks if we could see that on both A or B side here. Lance going to be that pick. Lance and Finn have come up as support prioritizations. Really kind of surprising considering that you have so much heal from Grace still, even with her nerf. And of course, you have a lot of potential from Lyra, but you know, it's that crowd control. It really pairs well with some of these slower weapon or crystal junglers like a Cruel or Rhyme, so it gives you a lot of flexibility in that regard. QLASH, they could pick the Finn here. They could go with an Arden. Lyra is still the healer. Lyra and Grace still available, but they go with a Scarf. And this has been a strong crystal jungler as well as crystal laner, so it's a good flex pick. I do like to see flex picks used quite a bit. So nice to see that come out here. They used up 10 seconds of bonus time. And ban away the Glaive. This definitely to protect the Scarf. Like when we see Scarf pick squishy mages come out, you do want to make sure you keep away some of those heavier, you know, it could be a laner jungler or it could be a support. So Glaive's so versatile, great flex pick to take off the board. Glaive also does well into these mages. Celeste is still up, so Salty Potatoes might think about picking Celeste up. Grace going to be the ban, so it takes away at least one of those supports. I actually think QLASH here has still a really wide range of supports. They could go with a healer like Lyra. They could go with Baptiste. As we've seen, Baptiste is very strong still as far as crowd control and great at peeling away from a mage, like keeping heroes off of the Scarf, which I think is very important with that fearsome shade. But we could see something more traditional like an Arden as well. Lyra is going to be it, so going with the healer route, and I think this again offers a lot of possibilities. It does, that bulwark is very powerful if you've got like a Taka or Kashka trying to jump onto that Scarf. So I think Salty Potatoes here now has an opportunity to pick up a mage themselves if they want. With Celeste, we've seen some Adagio play, but very rare. The other crystal mages that come to mind that would be, you know, somewhat useful is let's see. There's a few of them, but Celeste is going to be the pick. I think this is the right call, as Clash does able to, you know, push Salty Potatoes into the last mage available. Could be flex in the jungle or the lane, so it wouldn't be too bad. Now at this point, we're going to find out if the Celeste is going to be going jungle or not, based on the pick here. Lance could be flex. We've seen some weapon Lance, so this could, you know, if you pick it like, for instance, a Cruel. So likely going to be that support Lance then. And I like the Cruel. This is what we talked about with the Lance. Lance is great with some of these maybe a little bit, stronger, longer fight games. You want to be able to hold the enemy in place, and Lance does this for Cruel. Cruel likes to be able to keep things very close and uncomfortable for the enemy team. So Salty Potatoes, they have a strong draft. Really is going to be the challenge, though, with this Cruel is getting on top of the Scarf, because those goops placed in front of the Cruel is going to make it very hard for the Cruel to get on without taking a lot of damage. And then, of course, a Bulwark is going to also prevent the Cruel from lunging towards the Scarf. Blackfeather is going to be the final pick for QLASH. A lot of damage for Blackfeather. Weapon Blackfeather really coming into his own in the meta. Europe has always seemed to love this. And this is still also pretty notable. We talk about a lot of these European teams who really love playing with this Blackfeather. And of course, not surprised at all. You've got Agony and HF Guy, Hell's Dev, Agony known for some really strong Blackfeather play as well. But this could be flexed either way. Definitely could go either way. Both drafts, I'd have to say, for everyone watching the chat, I think this is pretty evenly drafted between these two teams. I think that a lot of this is going to be on can Cruel get onto a target and deal the damage. I expect Salty Potatoes to play a very tanky Cruel, because really Cruel just wants to harass, doesn't need to necessarily give the killing blow. Needs to take that needs to take a lot of that pressure off of Celeste. The same goes for Blackfeather. Blackfeather's very slippery. We'll be able to avoid a lot of that crowd control, at least early on. Once he gets to level 6 with that Rose offensive, that's going to be very important for the side of QLASH, right? Is be able to get around. There's a lot of crowd control. I would say a lot more crowd control on the side of Salty Potatoes, and that could really help the Salty Potatoes win their match if they could stun up a Scarf and lock on the Scarf. If they could stun up the Blackfeather, that would also be very, very powerful as well. So we're just about ready to get to this match. Again, you guys are watching the off-stream match. It's the Vainglory 8 powered by VIS, and we are bringing you Clash versus Salty Potatoes here in our game number 1. Make sure you guys follow the stream, and also the Vainglory 8 main channel is live, so make sure you catch in on the action there as well. Tune into here if you want to catch this one specifically, but it looks like we're ready to go and jump into the game here in just a few seconds. But it's really easy to see the win conditions for both these two teams. They really both have it. More crowd control on the side of Salty Potatoes means that they could definitely make Clash pay for their mistakes. Whereas I would say late game, I'd say there's the potential to do more damage with the Scarf. The Spitfire has such long range that it's really hard to lock on to, it's really hard to get away from those Spitfires. Celeste has got range, just not as much as Scarf. So we'll have to see how it all plays out, as Cruel is really going to be the player to watch here. And we're looking at it. Sneaky is going to be on that Celeste, Agony on the Blackfeather, so it is going to be that jungle Blackfeather we talked about. Let's get right into it, though. Game number 1 in our best of 3 is starting right now.
The battle for the Halcyon Fold has begun.
All right. Well, we're getting it quickly, and of course, I am Dragonborn, your host, and unfortunately, your only caster today. You get to hear my voice throughout the entirety of this broadcast, this stream, and I'll do my best to try to make it interesting while also not overstressing myself, as it can be a little tedious here. What we see a lot, supports have done a good job as far as pushing in. I like what Salty's already doing. This Lance, getting that Impale. I don't think he's really afraid of Lyra, really, at this point in the game. Not much to be afraid of. So, again, a lot of vision scouting. Scout Trap here right by this healer is going to be a good communication tool for the Salty Potatoes. I'm sorry, yeah, for Clash to kind of just stay on top of rotations. But here comes Salty Potatoes. They're rotating down to the Elder Treant, moving in. They aren't able to steal any farm away, but they're going to start up this Elder Treant right away. Moving in, trying to take this. It's going to be contested. There comes the Sigil, but it's not going to be enough to get anything. Not going to get the final blow. It is going to be Salty Potatoes getting that Elder Treant. A little bit of an extra gold here. They did a 3-man rotation actually down to kind of share that experience in gold early. And you can see it actually resulted in them staying pretty even without rotating up to the lane right away. And supports in the lane. Now, we talk a lot about different meta strats as we see. There is a lot more experience to be shared, a lot more gold to be shared in the jungle, thanks to update 2.8. But there's still so much prioritization in the lane just to keep the laner safe. So having your support up there, it forces the enemy team to just be very cautious about engaging too far forward. A lot of that's going to be dependent on the rotation of the jungler. You see, here comes Cruel. Gets rooted, but he's going to be able to get that Treant. He's going to actually rotate down to the Elder Treant, and so is Blackfeather. So Agony's coming down as well. Cruel's going to start this right up. A little bit risky. Agony could get on here. Nice on point to start that engage. But here comes a rotation actually from both supports to move in. They're going to move in here a little bit. It's going to be back and forth, 2v2. Who's going to get it? It's going to be QLASH getting the heal from the Elder Treant, as well as being able to avoid any additional damage from Salty Potatoes. So they're going to get right out of there. Kratz is going to start up. He's actually going to take these two, as you did see Cruel reporting back. So a little bit of engagement. We do see more engagement around the Elder Treant. Elder Treant gets a little bit of a decent amount of gold and a lot of experience. So you do want to be able to take that. So getting that as well. Very even so far, though, between these two teams. Both teams actually getting an Elder Treant to boot. Kratz on these impales. He's spot on. Able to do some damage on Merciless. This is kind of the thing you have to watch for, is the engage onto the Scarf. And Hell Devil, he's going to have to do a really good job with that Bulwark to try to prevent those impales landing on the Scarf. Really kind of have to be right in between the enemy team and his carries for the majority of this game. It's going to put him in a tough spot. He's very squishy, so this Lyra just needs to be mindful of, you know, how much damage he can take in trying to keep that middle ground between the two teams in his team's favor. Another engagement, 2v2 going on by the Elder Treant. It's going to be this time Salty Potatoes getting the heal. And it does go onto the Cruel, so he's going to be able to get a lot of sustain here as he hits level 4. He's not really going to be that afraid of the Blackfeather for that. Going to come in here. Decent amount of vision, but still. Cruel now is going to be able to move up nicely. Yeah, he rotates all the way up. Oh, he's going to find Hell Devil. Does a little bit of damage, puts a few stacks. There's a nice stun, though. Core Collapse lands. A few auto attacks. Kill's not going to be able to get in time for the kill, but this is going to force Hell Devil to port back. Meanwhile, Blackfeather's going to come rotating in here. Does not get damage. Does not find the Cruel. You're going to see Squire gets out of that one very quickly. It's going to have to. So, even match so far. Gold, essentially, like, neck and neck. It's really not going to be able to. Oh, but we might have a first blood. Agony jumps in onto Lance. Not going to find the kill. Spitfire's too short. Kratz is going to stay alive for this. Recall's coming out from Clash to go back, get some items, and make sure you don't fall down behind the power spike. Now, interestingly enough, we're seeing a small gold lead. This is due to the rotation. Just decent, clean rotations, not having to port back as much from Salty Potatoes. So they are going to take up a few hundred gold. Not a major difference. But first fountain comes out on Kratz. That's going to be important as far as support play. It's actually Hell's Devil's just 100 gold or so away from that fountain. So you gotta be a little careful. But nice impale comes in, roots Lyra, but Cruel goes over to Scarf. He's gonna jump in. There's a core collapse, misses, but he's gonna get the kill anyways. And that is first blood going over to Salty Potatoes. Nice engage, locking the Lyra down. Lyra couldn't really help keep her Scarf alive for the duration of that little quick fight. And again, rotations coming from Clash. They're a little bit off, thanks because they've been porting back for their rotations. This means that they're unfortunately a little bit slower. Nice impale. Might keep Sneaky alive. Solar Storm comes out, almost finds Hell's Devil. So close. He's not going to get the kill. Lyra puts the sigil there for Agony and is going to port back. Not going to risk going and trying to re-engage. Sneaky almost got that kill. So far, Salty Potatoes do a great job at, you know, taking advantage of when they have the high ground in these fights, when they have the position battle. Oh, there comes from a Hell's Heart, goes in, impale. There's a heal coming in. Merciless is able to get out. Fountain is already spent. Fountain comes. Oh, Kratz is actually on cooldown for his Fountain, so he's not gonna be able to keep Cruel alive. And this actually could be turning. There's a kill finally coming over for Clash. So close to getting the Scarf. Really, I like the look. Just Hell's Devil was there in time, and that heal, especially mid-game, is so potent. It's able to keep his team alive. There's just not enough damage to blow up Scarf just yet. And the first turret is going to go over another kill. Sneaky, he's just too far out, tries to take a trade, but he drops before Hell's Devil goes down. And now, Clash, they are pushing this lane up. They're going to be able to rotate back. There's going to be a nice share, I think, between Merciless and Agony here as they rotate through their jungle. And very clean fight for them, able to pressure when they get the advantage. Cruel going down was such a huge issue for Salty Potatoes there, because without him there, that turret was exposed, and so was Sneaky in his attempt to try to save it. Again, everybody, you guys are watching the Vainglory 8 powered by this. I'm your host and only caster tonight, Dragonborn, doing my best to try to keep my voice intact, so I do apologize if you hear any slight pauses. I will try to keep everything entertaining. If you guys hear anything or see anything wrong with the stream, definitely let me know. I greatly appreciate it. Alright. 2-1 in favor of QLASH, but they have that first objective kill. Not as much gold comes out of the turret now, so only 200 a hero. So it's only 600 gold this time. They're actually behind in gold still by about 600. As we have seen Salty Potatoes do a good job at sharing, farming gold, making sure their rotations stay clean. They've been very good about rotating and maximizing their gold efficiency in the jungle. Trying to share some of that. The real difference maker is Celeste in the lane with that 96 CS. That's been very important. Actually, Cruel is behind in CS. To go in, move in through. There's a nice block, though. Hell's Heart block. Goop positioned perfectly to prevent Salty Potatoes from jumping in. And then nice Spitfire and on point to take Sneaky down to below half health. So he's going to start healing up as they take those treants in the jungle. But really good job by QLASH right there. They just able to get that damage, the poke damage. This is where they're going to be very effective, is the poke. And as the game goes later, Celeste has to be careful of not getting poked out early, because Cruel's going to be a great front line, so is Lance. But if Celeste is super weak, it's going to negate the damage that Sneaky can do, as his positioning will be even, harder to position throughout most of this fight. Push up here, the lane going through. They do find a nice engage, a lot of crowd control, but Hell's Devil is going to port out of that fight using the Arcane Passage. Good Arcane Passage, definitely redirects. Going to open up the jungle a little bit positionally. Salty Potatoes going to start up this gold mine. A lot more gold down here, so this would be a huge objective. Well, but it's going to be a contested objective at that. We see Agony come in, Goop comes down. There's a pushback, pushed in. From Hell's Heart comes in, does not land a stun. They're going to keep going in. Sigil comes in, nice! Solar Storm blows up Hell's Devil, and now it's a 3v2, but the damage coming out from this from the Scarf is so much here. They're going to keep pushing in. Roop comes in. That's actually going to force Merciless back. Goop lands, and Cracks is going to be very low, but Cruel gets in and gets the damage. Agony, the last man standing, going to have to back away, but it's actually going to force Salty Potatoes to just kind of hold off of this gold mine still. They're going to actually recall. That's a huge objective that QLASH was able to stop Salty from getting. They do take 2 kills for it, but I honestly think that was a fair trade. You don't want to give up that much gold. 2 kills is not nearly as much as that enormous amount of gold that would come out. That would be over, we're talking about 1,200 gold from that objective. The largest single gold objective in the entire game, other than Kraken. So, early on, before 15 minutes, that is such a huge amount of gold that you could prevent the team from taking. Definitely worth giving up those 2 kills. A little bit more farm, though, and of course, you do lose a little bit of position, but they've got good vision still. So QLASH shouldn't really feel too bad about how the fights are going. We are even on turrets, though, so objectives so far have been even. Gold's definitely favoring Salty Potatoes. Cruel looks to go in, but the Goop and the Spitfire land. He's going to try to get away from this fight. Hell's Heart lands, though. Black Feather's low. Core Collapse gets dodged out with the Reflex block and from Rose offensive. They're going to keep fighting here, moving down to the bottom side of this lane. They're in a choke point. This is where Lance is so effective. And Agony just barely surviving. Going to get healed up a little bit. But Salty Potatoes has now the advantage. Going to keep pressuring here. Going to steal away that treant, so QLASH is going to be forced to get out, but Impale lands. Core Collapse as well. Nice get the wall to boot, and they're able to take out Hell's Devil support. Merciless and Agony are split for the top and bottom of this lane. Merciless, he's very low. He's got to watch out. You see Crass going in. They're going to get the ace. They do get the ace, and they're going to get this Crystal Sentry here. Huge amount of objectives, and they likely might rotate to go start up this gold mine. This is an enormous amount of gold in just a few minutes. They are going to be going over to Salty Potatoes. Sneaky also rotates up to the lane. They might even get a turret. This could be about 2,000 to 3,000 gold advantage just in a single team fight. And yep, they get the turret. They get the gold sentry. They get the gold miner as well. And you're talking about over 2,000 gold. Plus, they get all that rotation gold from the jungle of Clash. And just like that, Salted Potatoes. Look how fast that bloomed up to 5,000 gold lead. And this is something you gotta be careful now. There's a huge power spike in items coming out of Salted Potatoes. And Clash has to be careful. Agony looks trying to just get this Triet. He does get it, but he takes so much damage. Blocks out that from Hell's Heart. Thanks to the Rose Offensive. Bulwark kind of keeps that fight from going too far. He's going to actually Rose Offensive over. Cruel follows. Nice job by Cruel to move in, but he's not going to be able to find any more damages. He's just happy to rotate back. They're going to stay here in the enemy's jungle. There's an appeal. It's blocked out. Hell's Devil's going to move up. Stunned from the Githian wall. And here comes the tree end. There's no crystal minion candy, but the crystal sentry is able to do a lot of damage. But Agony, he's getting blown up. Solar Storm's going to miss. But Impale's blocked up again, and here comes a Dragon's Breath. Oh, Clash, they're turning this around. They've got the damage to do it. And this is actually really risky. Sneaky's trying to land these Heliogenesis, but he's not getting the kill. And now Sneaky's got to watch out. Core Collapse lands, Agony drops. Hell's Devil's going to have to back away. So Sneaky does hold off from that ace occurring, but that was super risky for Salty. And also, a huge advantage for Clash to kind of get back in this fight. Hell's Devil's going to drop here. Unfortunately, I think staying too long. Sneaky, wow, look at that. A huge amount of damage here with just the Frostbird and the Eve. He's going to try to solo this Crystal Sentry. Core Collapse to zone Merciless away. Going to get the Crystal Sentry. Might even try to get this Triet. I think Merciless has got it, so he's happy to back away. But we're talking about a 4,000 gold lead, even with that fight favoring Clash going in the way of Salty Potatoes. So, again, Sneaky rotates over. He's going to share some of this gold here with Squire. And so far, really good game from Salty Potatoes. But Clash, with that one fight win, have brought this fight, or brought this game back within striking distance. So that's something that they really need to do. They need to win another fight like that, and Scarf, as he starts to power up, will be able to turn those fights around. One of the things I think Salty Potatoes has to be mindful of is these Dragon Breaths are going to be really potent. They need to save some of their stuns, and I really think the Core Collapse, probably the most reliable stun, does force Celeste a little bit further forward than you'd probably like. And Githian Wall would obviously be an ideal stun to stop the Scarf. So Merciless has to be careful about starting that up. We are going to have a fight breaking out, though. Scarf's rotating down, but Salty Potatoes has already got a decent engagement. They're going to root Scarf up and then turn back down to the midpoint of this jungle. They're going to find Hell's Devil. One more shot would have done it, but they're not going to find the kill. And now it's Cruel going low. Squire has to be careful. Agony, he's going to get locked up. Oh, Agony drops. Crystal Sentry's still here fighting, but Crystal Sentry's going to take the damage as Merciless tries to keep putting Spitfires on. No broken myths by either of the Crystal Mages here in this fight, so the length of these fights really not going to be as much of a factor. Cruel looks to go back in. You got to be careful there, Squire. That goop is going to do a lot of damage. They do get Hell's Devil. Aw, Hell's Devil has to rotate into the bad spot. It's going to drop here. Kratz tries to get that Triet, doesn't get it, but a lot of gold going back in favor. This is now a 6,000 gold lead for the side of Salty Potatoes. Opens up the jungle. It's going to allow them to start this Kraken. We'll see if it gets contested, just because I don't think Clash really have the ability to contest with 2v3. It would be so risky considering how squishy and squishy Blackfeather and Scarf are. They are looking at contest, though. They are looking to go in. There's a goop. Core Collapse gets blocked out. Nice job. Agony dodges out a lot of damage. He's very low. Yeah, it's kind of risky contesting. They do get out of it alive, so that's a huge deal. Agony could have dropped, and that would have been absolutely devastating for the side of Clash, but, you know, gets away. It is going to be that Kraken pushing down, so now they got to be very careful. Clash. They are not looking in a very good spot. They're about down 7,000, oh, 6,000 gold. And they got a Kraken barreling down. This is going to be that last 300 gold turret, that last late turret that dishes out a decent amount of gold. So, again, that lead's expanding down to 7,000. Salty Potatoes, they are looking to push for victory. They're looking to come in here and get this win. They're pushing in. They are finding damage here. They should be able to get one of these turrets, but you got a Scarf. Scarf's really good at melting Kraken. So, you're going to see Salty Potatoes back away here. There's a lot, partly due to the fact just how fast that Scarf, once he gets a lot of damage, gets a goop right underneath that Kraken, he's able to melt Kraken. But Salty Potatoes, they have a massive gold lead, a massive objective lead. You know, even with the 500 gold going over to the side of QLASH there, you know, they were able to get 500 gold each their way for those turrets. So we are at 17 minutes. Their Impale misses, but they're pushing in. They're down in the enemy jungle. QLASH looking to try to find something. They jump onto Crass, but Crass is just trying to buff these damage. Unfortunately, Sneaky not landing these core collapses, or sorry, not landing these heliogenesis, and so not able to do enough poke. Broken Myth is built though for Sneaky, so it's really important. He's got a couple snacks already, not snacks, stacks. So that damage is starting to hurt. That's gonna be something that's really important. Scarf did not build Broken Myth yet. I'm not sure I agree. Broken Myth as a 4th item is a little bit late. And so, one more team fight going into the favor of Salty Potatoes will be the end of the game for QLASH. So, QLASH, I mean. So, you really not having that. You're going to see Solar Storm comes out maybe a little bit too early. They're going to get the Pale, but the Impale is blocked thanks to those offensive. And, this is going to buy more time for QLASH. QLASH does need time. This Scarf will be absolutely a monster once that Broken Myth is built. So I really think Salty Potatoes, they have an advantage here with items. They really should take advantage of it. They really need to push forward. They need to get this. You're going to see Merciless is still about a couple hundred, almost 1,000 gold away from the Broken Myth. So right now, this is probably the last fight Salty Potatoes will be able to have before that Broken Myth is built. Starting to build some stacks. 1 stack built. Needs to land those Heliogenesis. Cruel's actually down in shop. Just kind of chilling. I'm not sure what's going on. He's not moving. Alright, here he comes. I'm really surprised. Salty Potatoes needed to engage that fight. That was a fight for them to win. And they're going to just give more time over. Merciless now ever so close to building that Broken Myth. He needs to complete that. His infusion is almost spent. So this next fight, if they can hold out long enough, Salty Potatoes actually might be able to push with no infusion on the side of Scarf. You're seeing them go away. They do find Hell's Devil, but they split the fight. Agony rotates down to the bottom of that fight to try to get poked. Misted Pale and Spitfire. Crass taking a lot of damage. Crass almost drops. Oh, nice bulwark. Nice going in. They are going to stun up the Lyra. Crass so low, so I do like QLASH trying to get in on that fight. Trying to push their advantage and actually, again, buying more time. Merciless is going to buy a Broken Myth really soon. And once he does, this is going to be a huge fight. Really, Salty Potatoes has the advantage. There's no infusion and no Broken Myth on Merciless. This is the weakest Scarf will be for the rest of the game. And if you're Salty Potatoes, you needed to take advantage of that. You're not going to be able to now. That's a huge amount of gold. Broken Myth is going to be able to be picked up now by Merciless. And they just, Salty Potatoes not taking the fights that they had the advantage with. And I don't think they realized that. I don't think they realized how much of an advantage they had there. Oh, Merciless actually buys an infusion instead of saving up for the Broken Myth. And I think that's a huge mistake. You could just delay this game. You need to get to that Broken Myth very quickly. And they're very close. This is another fight, so no Broken Myth still. He does have the infusion. They're looking to go in here. You see Salty Potatoes pushing it. Impale lands. Oh, a Core Collapse does. And Merciless Scarf is not able to get into the fight as Hell's Devil drops here. Salty Potatoes now, they've got the jungle control. They're going to start up this Kraken, and they're going to start pushing for the win. I really think Merciless should have bought that Broken Myth. Oh, they're going to go on to Merciless again, and look at the damage. They decide not to go for the Kraken. They find Merciless, and oh, just like that. Will they just go for this kill and go for the win? I think they're just going to go for the win. They have the damage. There's just one turret left, and Salty Potatoes, a very grueling last few minutes, is going to find game number 1 here between QLASH. As a great job by them. You are going to see a lot of damage. Wire having to stay alive, but just an incredible play in these fights. These mechanical skill fights have really sided with Salty Potatoes as it came in. And they, of course, you know, Merciless didn't get to the Broken Myth, wasn't able to hold the fight. Of course, Hell's Devil as well, dropping. Game number 1. Going over to Salty Potatoes. Very exciting game, I must say. That was pretty close as we start getting later. Really dangerous for the side of Salty Potatoes to let that go on. You know, Merciless, he was about to get about 2,200 gold and complete that Broken Myth, but he decided instead to get an infusion right before that last fight. And then, you know, that would have been okay, but then Hell's Devil got caught out. And unfortunately, well, that's all she wrote there as we conclude game number 1 here. Good fight here. Clash gonna have to show up here for game number 2 if they want to make something happen. But we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, everybody, we're gonna be getting into that second game live here on the Vainglory 8 powered by VIS.
$14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We are looking to get into our second game. This is the Vainglory 8 powered by VIS, and I'm your host, Dragonborn, and also your Soulcaster today. So I'm doing my best to keep things interesting, and of course I'll try to read the chat and engage with you guys as much as I can, but it's going to be very hard this time since I'm the only one here. We're looking to get started. So game number 2, and we talked a lot. The draft, I thought the draft was really good for both teams in game 1. We saw Scarf Celeste split. I think the Lyra was actually a great pick for Clash as far as healing is concerned, but I think that they really could have done more as far as peel with the Baptiste. I know you don't see a lot of Roam Baptiste in the EU. You see some, and I think that would have been, you know, just a different take. But really, I think the biggest factor was, you know, they had an opportunity for Scarf could have saved for Broken Myth, and then they could have held that fight and then infused, but it just didn't pan out the way that Salty Potatoes had hoped. So let's get into it. It's game number 2 here. Let me get that updated. And Clash will be starting here on B side. As a first pick Celeste. This is interesting. Clash, I mean, I get the Celeste pick was strong, but honestly, Clash's Scarf was doing a lot of damage too. Just didn't have Broken Myth. And that was the big factor. I wouldn't have necessarily prioritized Celeste. Celeste is so risky as a first pick. You've got so many more picks on the board. Idris is actually still available. That being said, CP Idris does get countered a little bit by Celeste, so Clash might feel very confident about that. Basically, with the Celeste first pick, they're saying, all right, we don't want you to pick Celeste against our Idris, so we're going to pick Celeste to force you if you're going to go with Idris. And I think Salty Potatoes should just not pick Idris. I think you just don't ban it, don't pick it, just avoid it. And Clash shouldn't ban it either if they feel if that was their first pick. They shouldn't ban it now, otherwise they're giving away that was somewhat of a bluff. Cruel's banned by Salty Potatoes. I think that's a good call to keep them off the board. There's still a lot of strong support picks here. I do like also the Lance pick early by Salty. Clash could have banned the Scarf, which this is the problem. They should have picked Scarf first. They should have just said, hey, you're picking Celeste, we'll pick Scarf. Now, you know, because it's too risky to pick the interest into the... I mean, you could do it. I think Crystal Interest is still very strong. But it really puts a weird loss. Jewel comes out. We have not seen a lot of Jewel play in this competitive really competitive play at all. It very rarely does it come out. So, interesting pickup by Salty Potatoes. Likely just to get on top of Clash. Clash is Celeste. Grace is going to be the heal pickup. Grace not prioritized, but still a very strong support. So, great to see it come out here at this point. We'll see how they play off of the rest of this. Last final pick. They could, so for a jungle point of view, we've seen a lot of weapon junglers. Glaive's still available. I like Glaive, but Glaive's not going to be as impactful because you don't really have any squishies yet. So we'll see if Salty Potatoes builds or picks somebody here that maybe Glaive would have played well into. But now you're Salty Potatoes. You've got Jewel. Pretty good front line. You know, Jewel's a lot of fun. It could be lane Jewel. It could be jungle Jewel. It could be crystal Jewel. We don't really know. And that's what I love about these flex picks. Gives a little bit of uncertainty to the enemy team. So really, they could go a couple of different ways. But I think one of the major things here is if you do ride Jewel into the lane, you do want to have a very, very strong non-squishy. Samuel could be, it's squishy, but could be a lot of poke. We do see a lot of Samuel play in both regions. And I like the Samuel pick when you're trying to like poke away the enemy hero. Kestrel could be picked here as well. But Kestrel would have to be very careful. A little bit risky when you've got the engage from the Glaive and the Lyra. I'm sorry, the Glaive and the Grace pick. So one of the other picks that we haven't seen yet is Blackfeather. Could come out as a CP or weapon Blackfeather as well. It's going to be Rhyme. And oh, this is such a good pick. I wasn't going to say Rhyme only because I didn't think that, you know, this was something Salty Potatoes played a lot of. But this actually is really good into Glaive and Grace. This is so much damage to these melee heroes that, you know, I really think this is a fantastic pick. Absolutely fantastic pick. And, you know, you're going to be able to dish out a lot of upfront damage to Glaive. So Glaive's going to be pretty vulnerable. Grace should have enough defense to hang in there. And Celeste, this is really going to be important. This is not really a strong composition for engaging on Celeste. So while I do like the Rhyme into the Glaive, the risk here is you're not going to have the range to jump in on Celeste. If the rocket jumps don't land, if you don't get the stun on Celeste, even if you do, you're really compromised. So I think actually Clash has a good shot here, if anything, to just poke from a distance, build up those stacks, and start deleting Salty Potatoes. All right. Does look like we're ready to get into this match, everybody. They are starting, jumping into the fold here in just a few seconds. Thanks for everybody for coming out. Again, you guys are watching the Vainglory 8 powered by VIS. I'm your host, Dragonborn, and the game has begun. Let's jump right into the fold, everybody. Clash with this Celeste pick. Guys, this is really dangerous. Yeah, it really comes down. Someone said in the chat, cow rolls. It comes down to Jewel versus Celeste. If Sneaky's a godly Jewel player and can really force Merciless into bad positions, I really think that they have a shot, but Merciless doesn't need to play aggressive at all. You just need to keep landing, and I think this is the, you know, Rhyme and the Glaive's good, but into Celeste, probably not going to look too good. A little bit of engagement. Hell's Devil taking advantage of this very aggressive Grace play to get in here. Looking to maybe steal away. This is risky because it's 3v1. That would have been too much damage for Hell's Devil to even deal with. As 3-man rotation here in the jungle. We do see a lot of these laners don't rush up to lane anymore, thanks to so much more golden experience available in the jungle with a quick jungle rotation. Celeste gets up to the lane first. As oh, we do have an engagement in the jungle. Hell's Devil goes in. Nice punt to force Esquire back. But it's going to be Hell's Devil has to be, you know, rotating to the top side of the jungle to stay away from some of that damage. Into the lane we go, where a sizable amount of farming takes place, but really we don't see as much fights up here or ganks. Could see some Agonies getting here, but this is where Jewel's great. Jewel can jump away from these ganks, provided he doesn't get double stunned. Nice core. Oh, good stun comes in. Merciless gets rooted. Core collapse to keep Jewel kind of at back, but one more Thunder Strike will do it. Does he get? He gets it, and First Blood goes over to Sneaky. Sneaky's gonna take a lot of damage, and Sneaky's gonna go down. Oh, Sneaky. Under turret for too long, and Hell's Devil gets up there in time to finish up that kill. So it is a 1 trade, but it is going to be 200 gold in favor of Sneaky. Thanks, he did get that extra 200 for the First Blood. I don't know, maybe worth it. He'll tell you it's worth it. Agony is going to get a little bit contention here, gets slowed up. This is where the Rhyme is so potent. You don't want to be 1v1ing a Rhyme if you're Glaive, especially 2v1ing when you've got a Lance there. Hell's Devil is going to stay up on top of the lane with Merciless, so Glaive's got to be solo jungling carefully. Doesn't want to really have to actually go toe-to-toe. And actually, Esquire is going to just push all the way to the jungle. I think this makes sense. Agony's very low. Esquire's full health. Not a decent engage. Yeah, Agony's not going to be able to do anything. And look how fast he goes in. He steals away one of those junglers as well. It's going to be traded, and Agony now has to rotate out. Honestly, Esquire is going to be able... He's a level up. So he's going to be able to do a lot against Agony, even in this 2v1 condition. Gets that! Gets the tree end as well, so not really even having to back away. And Agony's so low. Boots over. He's trying to get this farm. Oh, is he going to have to give this treant? He is going to give up the treant. In the lane, we see Merciless also struggling against Sneaky. Sneaky this time. Not risky enough to stay underneath that turret for long. We are seeing Glaive doing a good job at trying to steal away Salty Potatoes jungle. Oh, he's going to get a treant. And does he get these bottom two? Doesn't. Cracks gets it. Now Agony just waiting for... Oh, he's not going to be able to get away. He's going to drop. There's another kill. So, does do a good job at getting some of that farm back from counter jungling. But he's unfortunately pays for it with his life. Sneaky's going to be... Is he going to Thunder Strike the bush? No, he doesn't. Now he just is going to push this lane up. Going to try to deprive Celeste from some of this gold. Celeste is moving. Oh, good job by Hell's Devil to keep that farm pushed to the center a little bit. Meanwhile, in the jungle, the lion does not sleep as Agony keeps trying to farm, trying to stay up with Esquire. Esquire is a little bit ahead of experience. Ooh, it loses out that tree, and Agony's not going to get it. Esquire trying to then push Agony into a bad spot. The jungle has intensified. Nice Holy Nova, double stuns. Just to keep, I think really just to keep Salty Potatoes in check. They're going to force them out of the jungle. In the lane, we do have Sneaky doing a great job at keeping Celeste under turret. Really deep under turret. They're actually going to push onto the turret and do some damage. So good rotation by Salty. Holy Nova gets stunned. Core Collapse doubles it up. And it's going to be a kill. Rhyme drops. Kratzy's low. He's going to have to boots away. Oh, does get... Yeah, he gets under turret. Oh, goes in. Oh, Kratz. That's gutsy. As he gets to the impale and a 3-man get the wall. Oh, Kratz, you are playing with the with the edge of the knife there. And now it's going to be the lane pushing back up here. Root onto the Grace. Get the wall onto the Celeste. The Kratz. Oh, Kratz, you might have played a dangerous game. Is it going to be a trade, though? Because Hell Devil's really low. Kratz actually dodges out the damage. He survives as Sneaky picks up the kill. Sneaky being very sneaky in that team fight. Kind of coming up from the bottom and just really, I think... Not really giving Clash or Clash a little bit of a mind game there as far as focusing on a support. Maybe not the best decision. Oh, nice stun. Oh, the Impale lands as well as the Valkyrie. Of course, Sneaky comes in as well to finish that up. So much combination of those crowd control items. There's just going to be a turret going down. Agony doesn't really get in there and make a difference. Nice one big red button too. Rhyme drops, but I think that's a great trade. Yeah, a little bit risky maybe to stay in there. I think Rhyme could have gone out in time, but they get the turret, and that's a huge objective early to have nailed down. Agony gonna probably take this time to try to steal away some of this farm. The gold is favoring Salty Potatoes right now. They of course have the 1-game lead over Clash, so definitely a good game so far for Salty. A little bit rough for Clash here. I think the Celeste late game, though, will be more impactful, and that's something that's worth noting. It is going to be, of course, I mean, Rhyme will have a lot of damage, and I think the Valkyrie really will be the difference maker, and if Merciless keeps getting cut out, like we've seen, that this could be a very problematic game for Clash, but if it gets any later than 20 minutes and Clash is still in it, Merciless would have a good shot to be able to get back into this game. Alright, we do see a fight breaking out here. Clash split up, rotating up. There's going to be a nice holy Nova, but it's just catching Kratz. And now Hell's Devil's got to watch out. There's a core collapse. Sneaky's very low. Got to watch out. Heliogenesis could go Supernova. They're not going to get it. Yeah, they're not going to find too much damage. Nice big red button. Impale, but it's blocked out, so Hell's Devil's going to survive. Hell's Devil's done a good job with the blocks this game because there's just so much crowd control on the side of both teams that, you know, as the fights break out, both supports have to be very mindful. You're going to see Agony does miss the Thunderstruck by Sneaky, and now here comes the Crystal Sentry. Oh, good job. Good job by Agony to get in there, but Sneaky, he's going to rocket out. So that's a nice use of the disengage here that comes from that ability. Sneaky playing very impressively on this duel. 2-1-1. Not a lot of kills for the side of Salty Potatoes, but the fights really have been well balanced. They've never really overcommitted. They've, you know, you only see him giving up 3 kills, and that was fortunately a little bit of a fight mistake early on. Celeste though, just, you know, a little bit behind. Again, we see a lot of prioritization to build this Clockwork third instead of the Broken Myth. And because of that, this is going to mean that Celeste isn't going to come online nearly as fast. And because the Celeste's time in this game on the side of QLASH now is a little bit below, behind. Nice Impale gets in wall. But Agony looks to go in. Kratz has to be careful as we do see a lot of damage coming out. Celeste able to do some of those Supernovas. Nice combination though of the Valkyrie with the Impale. So it's going to force Clash back. And another retreat. Agony tried to maybe contest this Treant, but Squire, I think, has gotten in place. Doesn't get it, though. So, gonna have to be careful. Good stun coming up. Solar Storm almost gets the kill. And there's a Supernova from that Heliogenesis that blows up. You see how much Squire takes from that. Clash staying in this game. They're actually gonna be able to start picking up some of these fights probably as the game goes later, as Celeste becomes stronger. The Salty Potatoes need to be very decisive in their next team fights. Would actually love to see a few extra boots, maybe 2 War Treads built on Salty Potatoes, because their win condition is the engage, is the getting on Celeste, and then deleting Celeste as quickly as possible. Not able to do that. Long fights will be favoring Clash, especially long fights in the late game. Jewel, interestingly enough, does build Tornado Trigger second. So again, a lot of prioritization by Sneaky on the attack speed. It's going to be a lot of damage, but I would love to see if these fights go late, a breaking point, because obviously Merciless is going to be doing damage the longer these fights go on. Sneaky needs to be able to counter. He is going to move up, try to get this turret. He gets core collapse, but that tornado trigger actually is coming out huge. He does get the turret. He's going to rocket jump away, but does he survive? Oh, Sneaky. Oh, he almost gets the trade on Merciless, but it is going to be blown up. Gold Miner, though, might be going over to Salty Potatoes. Are they going to be able to get in this? We'll see. It is going to be a Gold Miner as well. And Turret and Gold Miner are going to give a huge amount of gold. They are unfortunately did trade 1 kill for it. Oh, Kratz! Kratz is going to be contesting here with Merciless. Can he get that damage? He's playing trade, but there is a Divine Intervention. So Kratz is going to be forced to have to back out. Oh, nice combat roll around that, that core collapse. Look at Kratz. Dude, this guy. He is definitely extended, but he gets the kill. Unbelievable. I mean, listen, when you've got lemons, make lemonade, and I cannot believe Lance was able to get enough damage to take out Merciless. That is insane. Absolutely insane. So this, you know what? You get a turret. If you know you're Salty Potatoes, you get a turret. That's 300 gold. You get a Gold Miner. That's 400 gold. That's 700 gold per player. And you only give up 2 kills, but you trade a kill for that as well. It's just, you know, that is definitely an outcome you're okay with if you're Salty Potatoes. And you can see that gold lead paying dividends. Sneaky does build a Tyrant's Monocle, so I actually like this. Oh, they're going to go in and get the stun. Agony caught out, and now it's going to be Grace. She's going to have to Holy Nova, and she gets it, but not without taking an enormous amount of damage. Oh, they're going to find Merciless up top. Merciless reflex blocks away from the Pale. So, you know, able to dodge that. That would have been devastating for Clash if Merciless had gotten caught out as well. They're going to have to... Salty Potatoes is going to have to push this lane up. They are gonna... Oh, you got Esquire down in the jungle trying to get this Crystal Sentry. But they do find Merciless in the lane. At least two of them. Oh, nice jump in. But Agony gets the stun, pushes Sneaky back. But Merciless doesn't get away. Rotates too far forward and drops. That's another kill going over to Salty Potatoes. And a 3v2 condition now for Salty Potatoes. It's going to be an Afterbird actually over the wall to get away. So this is a Clash really being defensive here. As their final lane turret now is under siege. Salty Potatoes, they want it. They're going to get it. Holy Nova does land onto Sneaky, and there's an Afterbird, but it's not gonna be. It's gonna get blocked out in Agony. He's not gonna survive this, is he? Oh, he is. Core Collapse misses. Kratz gets out, but Esquire, he's not backing down. He's still in the middle of this fight between Hell's Devil and Merciless, and he's doing a great job. It's actually a recall by Agony back to the base. He was doing it from his Sanctuary. Hell's Devil drops. There's a trade. Oh, it's going to be a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Clash. But that is an objective advantage continuing to go in favor of Salty Potato. And Salty Potato is still, I'd say, still looking pretty good here with this about 5,500 gold lead. Again, everybody, you are watching the Vainglory 8 powered by BIS. I am your host, Dragonborn. Make sure you guys tune in every weekday on Tuesday and Wednesday to see the challengers in action. Oh, but we got a fight breaking out. Esquire goes in. He locks down. Oh my goodness, he locks down Merciless, gets the kill, and now Agony's next. There's just nothing stopping Esquire, and that is not what you want to have happen if you are the side of Clash. That is the worst thing possible. He blocks the Holy Nova. There's going to be a Merciless, Divine Intervention, but not enough to keep Agony alive. Esquire, he gets the kill. 2v1. Wow, what a play by Esquire. This Crystal Rhyme is really coming online. I love what he's building. Still no Broken Myth for Merciless, and Esquire actually is closer to building Broken Myth than Celeste is. So Esquire's probably going to get there in the next few minutes. This Gold Miner is surely going to help. And this looking bleaker and bleaker. Clash is not doing so well in these fights. They're finding kills, but the key is Salty Potatoes, when they find kills, they're finding them around getting objective takes. And that is very, very impactful into these games. Anyways, I was saying before all that exciting action broke out, make sure you tune in Tuesday and Wednesday for the Challenger Series, the North America Challenger Series, here live on the VIS channel. VIS League is that grassroots organization. We've come into Vainglory, and we love what we do, so make sure you guys support us by giving us a follow. We greatly appreciate it. We love bringing these competitive matches to you guys, both in the form of Challengers, Vainglory 8, and VIS Pro. We do see Salty Potatoes now, really just able to roam through the jungle here. I did miss Sneaky, I guess, was trying to backdoor. He got one of the turrets, but he is down, so now Clash with a turret up, they do have a slight advantage. I think you gotta be a little bit careful if you're Kratz and Salty Potatoes in general, because if you lose your support here, Salty Potatoes will be at a disadvantage. Agony goes in pretty deep, but I think Kratz is in position deep enough. And ultimately, just really trying to keep Clash from going after this Kraken, and he does it. Esquire's here, and Sneaky is now rotating to the center of the jungle where Kraken's at to meet up with his team. Clash is going to just clear out the back here. Their win condition really is going to be impactful when Merciless can get this Broken Myth. The late game power from Celeste will be important. You already have a Broken Myth, but oh, they got the Kraken. I didn't even missed it. Oh goodness, I'm so sorry everybody. But they do get the Kraken. Now it's going to be a 3v-man fight. It's going to be a 2v3 as we see Jewel rotates up from the top of the lane. But Jewel might be able to split them, or is the Clash going to be able to rotate up and try to find Jewel? Now it's a 3-man game. They're all together, bunched up. Esquire, he's under a lot of damage, but he finds Hell's Devil. Hell's Devil is going to get a Holy Nova, but not before going down. Jewel drops. But Merciless is the next to fall. It's a 1v1 with Agony, the last man standing. And Kratz, honestly, Kratz just wants to keep... Oh, nice Impale to stop the recall. Kratz just wants to keep Agony from going after this Kraken. That's all he cares about. That Kraken can easily end the game himself. So Agony, unfortunately, getting rooted and impaled. This has got to feel awful for him. And I think at this point, Agony knows that he's lost the game. So he's going to probably just get the kill here. I will say there's actually the recall from Celeste is coming up soon enough. They might be able to kill this Kraken before it goes back. And then if that's the case, that would be absolutely huge. There's the damage. Let's see if we can get it. It's not really a base race, but boy, if they do not kill this Kraken fast enough, this will be the end of game. And a good job by the side of Lance to try to keep it back, but they actually are going to get the Kraken. Nice job. Nice job by Clash to get in here in time and finish that up. Almost the end of the game here for it. And so everybody's... Oh, this might have been a mistake. Sneaky goes in too far, but the crystal, it's almost dead. Sneaky's going to get it. He gets it. Tornado Trigger, so much damage with a double Tyrant's Monocle and the Tornado Trigger. That's 100% critical damage. Unbelievable play. Great job by Sneaky getting in there. I mean, you know, because... The crystal was so low and it hadn't re-healed yet. It was so easy for Sneaky to finish it off, and just like that, 2 games to 0. Salty Potatoes takes it, and they are your victors here in the European region. And that concludes our Vainglory 8 for EU here. Thanks everybody for coming out and watching it. This was a pretty exciting matchup. Salty Potatoes, they look really, really good here. Esquire and Kratz on both sides are absolutely phenomenal. Playing very well. So definitely a good look and a really good fight here. Yeah, you know, really the difference was that crystal being below half health. I mean, I don't think Sneaky would have lived long enough if it was a full health crystal. And they are able to get it and get the win. I was watching it again on stream, watch the replay. Everybody, thank you guys so much. It was a very exciting game. Congrats to Sneaky. Good back... I wouldn't call it, I mean, it's kind of a backdoor. The entire team was there. Clash was there, and they still couldn't stop Sneaky from getting it. I really am impressed. I mean, the Rhyme play was good. I really thought Merciless could have done better on the Celeste. I think a third item Broken Myth at least would have been really good for Celeste, because, you know, that Broken Myth with those longer games, that's just something that's really impactful. And not the meta for you, but... definitely something to reflect upon here. Again, thanks everybody for coming out and watching the stream. Make sure you guys tune in to the main stream as well. In North America, it will be starting here in a few hours. I'll be bringing you guys the Vainglory 8 powered by this for North America stream as well. So, till then, see you guys. Good night.
$14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication.